Hi and welcome or welcome back. My name is Marta and today I wanted to use the last little bit of light of the day to film the end of the year book tag. So if you haven't seen it before, although I doubt it because it's been all over booktube for the past couple of weeks, this tag is just 5 questions. It was created by Ariel Bassett a few years ago, a handful of years ago now, and it just a tag to reflect on the last couple of months of the year where you still have time to read, but you don't have that much time. So yeah, let's just go through them. So the first question is, are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? And it's not even a book I started this year. I started this, I don't know if you can really see, last November. This is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and it's a book of essays about nature, about science and about indigenous wisdom. This is a beautiful book that I started on ebook ages ago. Oh, you can probably hear a van reversing. I started ages ago. I started this ages ago on ebook and I was loving it so much that I had to buy myself a copy. And since then, because they are essays and I feel like each of them is, you know, food for thought, I really ponder them and they made me think about other things I've read or watched or heard. It's been okay to read it quite slowly and just take it one essay at a time. I would like to I have the last quarter of it left. I would like to read this soon because it is really a beautiful, beautiful book and I'm really enjoying it. I just, you know, get to reading other stuff that I read quicker, and I've put this in the back seat for long enough. So I would love to finish this. But it's really my only book that I haven't finished yet. And I haven't DNF'd. Second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition to the end of the year? And so now it is the very beginning of November, and so I have already read my autumnal book. So I read The Mysterious Kiss of the Alperton Angels a couple weeks ago. That is by Janice Hallett and is kind of a mystery thriller crime book, and I feel like autumn is a great time of year to be reading mysteries. So I read that, I quite enjoyed it. It was my second Janice Hallett, and it's just, I love reading mysteries just for the kind of thrill of it all. I often don't think about them very much afterwards, but that's not really why I read them. And then I read The Witches of Vardø by Anya Bergman. This is a historical fiction book about the witch hunt in the island of Vardø in Norway in the 1660s. Now, I picked this up, it was my book club book for my real life book club, and I suggested it as a pick because it seemed like seasonally appropriate, and it ended up being like a quite heavy, dark, really close to historical events. It wasn't really like a light witchy read, but I still quite enjoyed it, and it seemed, the dark tones of it still seem fitting for this season. The third question is there a new release you're still waiting for? And that would be no, because the last book I was kind of waiting for came out about a week ago. It is Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, which is the third book in the Bride Fall series by Ashley Herring Blake. It's a series of companion romance novels, the first of which is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is one of my favourite romance books ever. That was like 5 stars, and then the second one, which is Oscar Parker, was 4, and I still haven't picked this one up. I'm probably gonna read it on ebook because that's what I did for the other 2, and I'm really excited about it. Question number 4 is, what are 3 books that you still want to read this year? And I'm having a really hard time narrowing it down. I don't know how many more books I'm gonna read. One of them, I don't know that I'm gonna finish it this year because it is huge, but it is The Priory of the Orange Tree, because I do have a physical copy that I borrowed from a friend months and months and months ago. Everyone's telling me I'm gonna really love it, so I want to do the thing. So yeah, I'm not committing to finishing it, but I'm committing to starting it. And then for the other 2 books, I wanted to pick more like categories of books. So something I would love to read before the end of the year is another memoir, because they're my favourite kind of non-fiction. I've read a couple of really good ones this year, and I recently picked up I Am by Maggie O'Farrell, which I've read 2 of her fiction books and adored them, and I think it's going to be the same for her memoir. And I also have Beautiful Country by, I'm gonna say Qian Julie Wang. I'm not positive on that pronunciation, but I've had that on Kindle for a bit and I'm really keen to read that as well, so a memoir. And then I probably want to read actually scratch that, the other book I'm picking is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I picked that up in a charity shop a while back and everyone loves it, and I don't really read that much young adult anymore, but I think it's going to be a really good one. And also I feel like a longer mystery book, great for this time of year, I already said, but let me reiterate. And finally, question number 5 is, have you already started making plans for 2024 for your reading? And I mean, I guess in a way, when all the books I'm buying, I'm already planning for 2024. So they're books I've bought that I know I'm not going to get to this year. So in that sense, yes. And also something else I was thinking about just the other day is that, so in 2022, I didn't read a single book over 500 pages. I had a little bit of the big book fear. But the first book I read this year in 2023 was Jane Eyre, which my edition was 600 pages. And since then, I've read like another like 3 books that were over 500 pages, which allegedly is not a huge amount. But I think at this point in the year, I've read 32 books. So, it's a little bit, it's over 10%. And I think I want to start 2024 with another big book. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I don't really mind, I know some people like to get that hit of like dopamine and like motivation by finishing a book really early on. But I would like to start with a chunky book. Maybe, I'm usually reading more than one thing at once, so maybe I'll have a couple things on the go, but one of them is going to be a big book. Maybe I'll still be working on the Priory of the Orange Tree, we'll see, but that's the plan anyway. And that is the 5 questions of the end of the year book tag. I would tag someone, but I feel like everyone who wanted to do this has already done it. I'm probably going to be like, the tail end of these videos, but thank you very much for hanging out with me for this little bit. I am really glad. I was really wanting to film this. I'm really glad I kind of snuck it in before the light completely leaves me at 5 p.m. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.